Hello?
Hello, Jughead. This is Archie. Come over right away. It's a matter of life or death.
Oh, relax, Archie.
Attention, all true believers. Marvel Comics is on the air.
A friend of the unfortunate, enemy of criminals. In reality, Dan Garrett, a rookie patrolman, loved by everyone but suspected by none of being the Blue Beetle.
Boys and girls, your attention, please. Presenting a new exciting radio program featuring the thrilling adventures of an amazing and incredible personality.
Faster than an airplane, more powerful than a locomotive, impervious to bullets.
Up in the sky, look!
It's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman!
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mathias. Thank you guys for tuning in to the first episode of Order Up, the Final Order Cutoff show. We're going to talk about a bunch of fun items that are on Final Order Cutoff this Monday, December 9th, in a little bit once the proper intro goes in. Hopefully everyone is tuning in and sharing this, and this will be a useful tool not only for you guys to order comics from your local comic shop, but for your local comic shop to also get the list out there of all the amazing comics that go on sale every month and go on Final Order Cutoff every week. I mean, there's a lot of awesome books that we get to talk about today. I have an incredible special guest with the incomparable E.M. Gist. So it's going to be a fun show. I hope everyone is tuning in. We'll start shortly, but lots of fun to be had. First show. So that'll be a interesting start, and always open to criticism and critiques as we go about this, because this is our first show. So let us know what you like, what you want to see more of, guests you want to see on future shows, and we will do our best to accommodate.
Hi everyone, I'm Mathias Lewis, and I'm here to talk to you about FOC, or Final Order Cutoff. It is the last chance that we, the comic retailers, have to finalize our orders for comics releasing roughly 3 to 6 weeks out from the Mondays we finalize our orders. We deal with this every Monday, but this is important to you, the consumer, because it is the perfect time to reach out to your local comic shop if you want any specific or guaranteed items. If you want the Jim Lee or Dan Mora covers of Justice League Unlimited, reach out to your local comic shop and let us know. If you want the new issue of Lilo and Stitch, this is the perfect time to tell us. Because as long as you can get us the orders before Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, that will give your local comic shop retailer enough time to finalize that order, adding in whatever it is you want, so they can guarantee when it releases, we have a copy set aside waiting for you. So, always reach out to your local comic shop before 6 p.m. on Mondays with the comics you want. The sooner, the better, to guarantee they're waiting for you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. I am Mathias. I'm here to talk about comics that are on Final Order Cutoff for this coming Monday, December 9th. So we have a lot of great things to talk about. But I want to, as this is our first show, talk a little bit more about what I did in that intro. This is your perfect chance to reach out to your local comic shop if you have one and let them know what comics you want. However, If you don't, we always have an option available here through the experience to place orders for comics that we talk about on this show. And I'm sure we will get a link somewhere in there on that. But we're going to use two websites that I think are the master lists of all of the comics on Final Order Cutoff. For the general publishers that you know and love, like Image, Marvel, Dark Horse, Dynamite, Boom, etc., we're going to use previewsworld.com/finalordersdue. That website will allow you to see almost everything that is on Final Order Cutoff each week. I recommend tuning in on Fridays, not only to watch this show, but to check the list because that's when it finalizes for items that will finalize their orders on Mondays. The other website we're going to use is another distributor website, lunardistribution.com. There you can see all of the DC comics that are on Final Order Cutoff, as well as some other smaller publishers that are shared on Previews World. Using these two tools, you'll be able to see everything that is coming out and on Final Order Cutoff each Monday. And you'll be able to reach out to your local comic shop or us and get in orders of whatever you want. Because as I said in the opening video, if you get us that information sooner rather than later, we can guarantee you any of the books you're looking for. So I am also going to thank our wonderful producers of the show and the experience for hosting us. And if the mastermind behind all this, the incredible Kyle, can share what I'm looking at on Previews World, you can at any point in time check out previewsworld.com/finalordersdue to see upcoming comics that we were finalizing orders on. But I'm going to highlight some of the stuff that I think is really worth paying attention to. Often new storylines, new series, and hot covers. And we're going to start this off. As you can see, these are items where the orders are due December 9th. And we always ask that you reach out to your local comic shop before 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because that will give the store enough time to guarantee that the orders you place in will be able to be added to their lists and finalized and get you those books on release date. So we're going to start with Image Comics. There's a lot of great Image Comics on FOC this week. The brand new Death of Copra, #1, doing a bit of a loving homage to John Ostrander's Suicide Squad. And of course, Geiger. Geiger gets the return of Junkyard Joe, which has me super excited. I love that we have the Action Comics homage cover on cover B by Ordway and Anderson. Beautiful, beautiful cover right there as Jeff Johns and Gary Frank continue their run on Geiger. And here's the big one I get to share. You know, I talked with some people at Ghost Machine. There's going to be a first appearance in this issue. For those of you who are big collectors, speculators that love having those first appearances, this is going to be an important issue. Obviously, the Ghost Machine publishing line at Image, as well as the universe that Geiger is in, have been growing, and people have been loving some of these key first appearances like Redcoat. So a first appearance in this is definitely going to draw some attention, and I recommend everyone pay attention to that. We also have second printings of Hornsby and Halo, the awesome new Peter Tomasi series that kind of gives me a New Gods feel of heaven and hell sending children to Earth for a bit of a social experiment. We have a lot of great continuing series that you can check out on Previews World, but one of the big ones I want to talk about also is going to be Lucky Devil. And I mean, take a look at that Frank Miller cover right there. But Lucky Devil is the newest piece from Charles Soule and Ryan Brown. They're the people who did Curse Words and 8 Billion Genies. Now, if you remember, 8 Billion Genies blew up like nobody's business. It went to multiple printings, was a super popular series, and I think this will be the exact same case as we deal with two devils, the little devils on your shoulder that manipulate you, rebelling against the traditional realm of what hell wants. I think this is going to be a really fun series in the way of Charles Soule and Ryan Brown's often comedic and dark tales. It's going to be a little bit Good Omens, a little bit 8 Billion Genies, and there are some awesome covers. I mean, everything from Ryan Brown doing his traditional A cover and Frank Miller doing the B cover, to there are blanks. There's even, of course, homages to Curse Words and 8 Billion Genies in the way of ratio variants. Now, that's a moment where I really want to quickly take. If you are placing orders with your local comic shop and you see a really cool ratio variant on here, I want to point out not every comic shop is going to get every ratio variant, but it is always worth talking to your local comic shop whoever it is that places orders for the comics there and seeing whether or not you can get those covers and how much they might cost. So a lot of great continuing items at Image. I don't have the time to talk about every single item on that, but we are going to obviously highlight some big ones. I do want to mention that Transformer 16 seems to introduce a new threat to the Energon universe. Obviously, we're dealing with Autobots and Decepticons in this, but as you can see from the solicitation on Previews World, they're fighting an ellipses? Probably not. As we'll talk about some hot covers later today, there is definitely an amazing spoiler cover that is hinting that something new is going to become a threat to the Energon universe. And Daniel Warren Johnson has been kicking butt with this series recently, so I can only imagine what twist he's going to throw our way. Now, before I leave Image and dive into Boom, we do have a special guest on today's show. So I want to bring him on and talk about something that he has on Final Order Cutoff this week. Hey, Eric, how are you doing?
Good, man. How's my audio sound?
Sounds great.
All right.
So, Eric, you have a comic that's on Final Order Cutoff this week. It is the final issue of Star Wars Battle of Jakku, The Last Stand.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful cover. So, you've been working on all of the A covers for this 4-issue miniseries that is probably the furthest in canon we have in the new comics at Marvel and Disney, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely part of the big overall, part of the sort of the Skywalker saga main continuity storyline. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're not familiar with Eric, it would be stunning. This is an Eisner-nominated cover artist who has been one of the hottest cover artists out there in the industry. Some of the best convention exclusives at the biggest shows like San Diego Comic-Con and New York Comic-Con. And the really cool thing I love about Eric's work is that the original art looks just like what you see on these covers in many cases. He fully paints these stunning pieces. So, Eric, could you talk to us a little bit about how you put together a cover, and then perhaps a little bit more on how you put together these amazing A covers on Battle of Jakku?
So just speaking more generally about my covers, I usually start with something that's mostly out of my imagination, based off of whatever brief or description I get from the client. And those are done mostly out of my head, just trying to conjure an image that I feel like tells a story, makes it intriguing, makes people want to open the book and see what's inside. From there, once we get something approved from the editors, there's sometimes a little bit of back and forth, a little bit of collaboration to get it right on target. And then I go in and I shoot some reference, I gather some scrap reference, I maybe build some models, whatever I need basically to sort of crystallize the image in my head. And then I use that to refine and tighten the drawing. And I do all that digitally. So I don't end up with just like stacks of paper like I used to 20 years ago when I was doing this stuff. And then from there, I transfer that to a piece of hardboard. Masonite is the brand name, but just hard, like particle board, hardboard. And I gesso that, I prime it, I transfer the drawing using a projector, and then I just start painting. And the last phase is just basically making what you see on the page. Sometimes there's a little bit of fudging around. Like with these covers, there was a little bit of adjustment because the trade dress is a little bit more robust than is average. So on some of the covers, I didn't leave quite enough room for that. Like on this one here, I ended up having to bump the figures down a little bit and kind of compress it a little bit more so that not so much of Leia's head is covered. So on the final cover, it'll actually look a little bit different than this one, so that so much of Leia isn't being covered up by the title. And I think the trade dress will be blue. What's white on this, I think, is blue actually on the final print cover. So that's basically how I approach it. And then for Star Wars stuff, it's a little bit different because they're existing likenesses. I got to make it look like the people, so I have to find some reference that fits the composition I have in mind. And sometimes it's a combination of 3 or 4 different pieces of reference, or like in this case, it's Harrison Ford's head, but the body is mine. And one of my buddies just happened to have a Han Solo costume that he wore for Halloween, and I borrowed that. So the body's me, but then the head is Harrison Ford. The one with Luke where he's the pilot, where he's got the helmet, that's actually a combination of 3 different pieces of reference. kind of mashed together to get what I wanted with the lighting and the angle and the helmet. So sometimes I find something that works straight off, but sometimes it requires a little bit of fudging around. And then I use 3D models for the ships, and so it's just gathering a lot of reference to kind of get exactly what I see in my head and try to get that to work as best I can.
Awesome. Well, so the cover that is on FOC this week is the final one. So hopefully everyone has had their chance to reach out to their local comic shop. Battle of Jakku is actually going for 12 issues, so this is going to be the 12th issue. You've already had the chance to let people know, but these covers are amazing. Now, you're a huge Star Wars fan. I know that too.
Yeah.
I'm sure back when the first trailers for Episode 7 were coming out, you had the excitement of that crashed Star Destroyer on Jakku, and now you get to paint. What was? I mean, you definitely threw that into the into multiple covers for Last Stand.
Yeah.
Big explosion on issue 4. Like, what was that like? Did you get to ask for that? Were you told to draw that?
I wasn't told to draw it. They were actually pretty open. I got like sort of, I guess, vibe samples from Lucasfilm where they were like, we want something like this, but they were pretty open to what I wanted to do. But they had like some general ideas of some were past covers that I'd done, and some were stuff just from wherever, and they said, and one was even like a Star Wars manga cover that they liked, and they're like, we want something like this type of thing. So they had a little bit of input, and then of course, we're limited to what's in the story as well. But no, the crashed. For me, you're absolutely right. When I first saw the trailer, one of the coolest, and I still think one of the coolest visuals of Episode 7, 8, and 9 is the battle remnants on Jakku. I just think that's an incredibly cool visual, and I wish that had been a little bit more of the story, but I kind of understand why it wasn't. But I kind of wish it was, and in fact, that was sort of a repeating theme through the whole thing, was this sort of destroyed, like purposely destroying or showing the ruins of, the original trilogy. That had to be intentional because it was in there a lot. So yeah, that was definitely a visual that I liked a lot. So I just kind of included it, and they never said no. So I just kept including it.
No, that's awesome. I mean, for that to be the final one of the mini series, I think that's perfect. We get everyone we wanted to see on the cover. We get that big epic explosion of the Star Destroyer over Jakku.
Yeah.
So, no, it's exciting, and I hope that everyone is reaching out to their local comic shop to place those orders for those covers. So some beautiful, beautiful work. I thank you so much for hopping in and talking about it, Eric. Is there anything you have coming up that you can talk about to get people excited for future finalizing orders and and ordering new books? Because I know.
So obviously there's the Battle of Jakku stuff. Obviously that's out there. I've still got the ongoing covers for Werewolf by Night, and I've been super excited to work on that. And I, in my personal opinion, I mean, I know I'm biased because I'm working on it, but I think it's a great series. It's really, I think, one of the truest and purest examples of what Werewolf by Night should be since the original run. So I'm enjoying working on that, and I think it's a really great series and deserves to get as much exposure as it can. So that's really good, and hopefully that's going to be, with the success of that and Moon Knight, that's going to be leading in. I can't say anything too much, but hopefully it's going to be leading into some more stuff coming in the next year or two with that sort of darker side of Marvel. I know there's a push for that. And then what else do I have coming up? That's some stuff that hasn't really been announced yet, but I'll go ahead and kind of peek it out there a little bit. But there's going to be a Boba Fett Black, White, and Red series coming, and I'll be doing a cover for that. I've got some DC stuff coming this year, which I haven't done a lot of work for DC, but I'll have at least 3 DC covers coming in the next year, and I've got the Green Arrow, end of the month, end of December, I think it
Green Arrow 19 this month. That's going to be an exciting one.
Yeah, so yeah, some fun DC stuff coming up, some more Marvel horror stuff coming up, a lot of Star Wars stuff coming up, and yeah, I'd really appreciate everyone picking all of them up.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, as always, reach out to your local comic shop if you want some of Eric's incredible covers. Now, if any of these fans want to meet you, are there any upcoming conventions you're doing, and where can they see more of your work? What are your social media handles?
So social media, pretty much everywhere. It's going to be EM Gist, depending on the platform. It might be E.M. Gist or E_M_Gist. But if you put in EM Gist, it's more than likely going to pop up, and that'll be me. So I'm on Instagram. Mostly Instagram is probably the place you're going to find me. I'm on Facebook a little bit, but as little as possible. Same thing with Twitter. I'm on there, but as little as possible. And then the newer ones, I kind of have sites on there, but Instagram is going to be your best bet. And then my website is erikgist.com. And I am at the moment confirmed for MegaCon. So I will absolutely be at MegaCon, and we'll have an exciting new exclusive for that show through Trinity Comics. And I'll be at the Trinity Comics booth. I don't think we have a booth number yet, but I won't be in Artist Alley. I'll be at the Trinity Comics booth. And then I'm sure I'll be at San Diego. I don't think that's official yet, but I'll be at San Diego because I live in San Diego. And then I imagine I'll be at New York. I think those are the only ones that are confirmed right now, but I'll be at least another 2 or 3 as well, but we haven't really decided exactly what those will be. I'm hoping TerrificCon will be one of them because I've heard a lot of good things about that show. But yeah, we'll see.
All right,
I'll definitely announce them.
Yeah.
So.
All right, Eric has a ton of incredible covers coming up and out right now, so always check out your local comic shop for those. Everything from Werewolf by Night, he did some amazing Blade, Star Wars, he's got the upcoming Green Arrow, Boom Studios. So do not pass up on Eric's unbelievable artwork. Check out his website if you're interested in buying original artwork, and follow him on social media. So thank you very much, Eric.
Yeah, thank you, Mathias.
All right. So we're going to dive back into things after that awesome talk about Star Wars, because there's a lot of great Star Wars, not just from Marvel we're going to talk about on FOC. But before we dive into that, we're going to return to Boom Studios really quickly, where Eric has done some other work. But this time, it's mainly just a continuing series in one shot. Actually, I take it back. It's brand new series in one shots and trades. It's a very small, simple FOC for Boom. We have the classic Cullen Bunn series, Bone Parish, about snorting bone powder and all the insanity of that. It's actually a really fun horror series, and you can grab the complete collection now. Instead of just getting multiple trades, it's one binding for $20. As well as we get a return to Fence. Fence is the perfect sports manga fanatics American comic about a young man who is trying to be the best fencer there is. This is a one-shot called Sweet 16. 2 awesome covers on that. And we have When I Lay My Vengeance Upon Thee, a brand new horror series with obvious paranormal twists that was coming out from Boom. So make sure you check out Previews World. You can see previews actually by clicking these links, as well as more. We're going to move on, though, to Marvel, where Eric's main work is, and you'll soon be seeing his Star Wars covers again. I want to point out Amazing Spider-Man is going to continue the 8 Deaths of Spider-Man. It has, oddly enough, Star Wars writer Justina Ireland currently writing, and there are some great covers. I think that the homage covers have been really, really wonderful that they've been doing, as well as, of course, you can never scoff at a Scotty Young cover. I don't know a single store that ever has an excess stock of Scotty Young covers. They always sell out. They always maintain or go higher in value. Just brilliant, and cute, wonderful ones that even non-comic fans love. I love that I can go to Disneyland or Disney World and see Scotty Young product being bought up by people who have never bought a comic in their life, and hopefully it will eventually lead to them buying a comic. So Amazing Spider-Man continuing on with some great covers. We also have the return of Wade Wilson, because no one stays dead in comics. Deadpool 10, only 3 short issues after the death of Wade Wilson, was going to bring him back. But now there will be 2 Deadpools. You're going to get his daughter Ellie as well as Wade running around in the costume. How Deadpool comes back and what he'll be doing if he just hands the title over to his daughter is going to be the question. You're going to have to grab this issue to find out. But some great covers there. I'm personally a fan of this Namor Fantastic Four cover, homaging New Mutants 98. There's a lot of New Mutants homages you'll see on FOC this week, but this one is a particularly fun one, very Liefeld-esque from Chad Hardin. But lots of great covers to be had there. And it's always worth, pointing out, if you're going to grab multiple covers, let your comic shop know, because they might know John Smith loves Deadpool, so we'll get him a copy. But But if he wants to get all of the covers, or perhaps that Chad Harden homage and the A cover, sometimes the store needs to know to up their orders. So letting them know you want multiple covers, A, means you don't miss out on the cover you want, having sold out instantly. But on top of that, it makes sure that everyone has enough books, because that's always the goal, to make sure that everyone gets all the things they want. We have a brand new series or one shot in Doctor Doom and Rocket Raccoon. We're going to be seeing a lot of Doctor Doom over the coming months as we prepare for One World Under Doom, the big Marvel event next year. In fact, the prelude starts in Fantastic Four number 28. Now, Fantastic Four number 28 has a lot of amazing covers. I personally love this World War I trench warfare, because Reed and Sue are going to go back in time with the Black Knight to try and find the one item that could perhaps bring down Doctor Doom. We're having Ryan North writing this amazing series with tons of great covers, a number of homages, including now the Disney homages have left just being Amazing Spider-Man and we're on Fantastic Four. But look at this Peach Momoko cover. This is just stunning. It's part of the Marvel Rivals if you're playing that video game, but even regardless if you're not, it's got Jeff and it's got Galactica. I believe that was Galactica. It's Galactus's daughter that Adam Warren created. But one way or another, just a wonderful cover. I think a lot of people are going to want. So definitely reach out to your local comic shop and let them know. A million great covers on Fantastic Four, a book that I hate to say generally doesn't perform as well as it could. So when there is an amazing storyline and great covers, it is worth letting people know that you want it and letting people know that this is a great series you should be reading. We still have some World War II fun with Hell Hunters, the 5-issue miniseries by Philip Kennedy Johnson that deals with a World War II ghostwriter. And Helverine continues on. Now, this is always one of the big ones. Helverine number 1, not yet in stores, the new number 1 that is. We had a miniseries. We have a new ongoing series featuring Daken as the new Helverine. But number 1's not out yet. This always makes it really hard for local comic shops to place orders, because once you have the sales figures in for number 1, you likely know which customers are going to want it, how many you need to order for number 2, number 3. But this is a reality that we as comic shop retailers constantly run into, where unfortunately we don't have those sales figures of issue number 1 yet. We don't know if all of the customers who potentially are going to want to read Helverine have become aware that it even is going to exist as an ongoing series. So it's all the more important to guarantee you the books that you want, that you let your local comic shop know when there is a new series that you see is cool. And number 2 is FOCing before issue number 1 hit stands. So lots of great covers. I mean, you know, it's Marvel. Marvel loves great covers. There are 2 publishers, I feel, that are all about their great covers and live by them, and it is Marvel and Dynamite. And it's easily where I spend way too much money myself in the comic book collecting part of this, because I have to get multiple covers that look cool, even if I'm just getting the same story multiple times. A lot of fun books that you can see all of these wonderful Marvel titles on previewsworld.com/final orders due. We'll talk more about some of these covers in my recap at the end. Another big one I want to talk about, though, is Star Wars: A New Legacy. It'll officially be a decade next year of Star Wars being back at Marvel. And to celebrate it, coming out January 29th, will be Star Wars: A New Legacy. It's a one-shot, and it kind of focuses just on the comic characters that have been the new Marvel comic characters, like Dr. Aphra, Chrysanthemum, Sonostaros, and more. So you're going to get a one-shot written by Jason Aaron and Charles Soule, 2 of the original 2015 Star Wars writers, dealing with these characters. The part that I'm really excited about, I mean, aside from Scar Squadron and seeing more Aphra, is going to be the perilous game between Dr. Aphra's droids and Chrysanthemum, because you know the classic concept of let the Wookiee win that we saw in A New Hope. I can only imagine how that flies when you have some evil droids and a less than loyal bounty hunter Wookiee. It's going to be probably one of the most brutal games of intergalactic chess you get. Someone in the comments, I'm sure, is going to instantly be like, well, the actual name of that game and I can't remember it. Some Star Wars fanatic is got this, and as much as I like to count myself amongst the Star Wars fanatics, that is my failure. I don't remember the name of the game in A New Hope. So obviously you can see all the covers also of the final issue of the Battle of Jakku, The Last Stand. I like that the actual name is Don't Get Killed by a Wookiee. There you go. But yeah, so 3 amazing covers for the Battle of Jakku. But obviously, I love Eric's incredible cover with the destruction of that Star Destroyer. We have many amazing covers on Ewoks and Storm. Storm getting a one-shot called Life Dream. But here's a big one I think that everyone should pay attention to. Strange Academy is a huge storyline written by Scotty Young with interior art by Humberto Ramos, dealing with the new generation of magic users in the Marvel Universe. You get all your favorite magic users of the Marvel Universe, from Magic, Dr. Voodoo, Dr. Strange, etc., as the teachers of this school. But you also get a lot of great new characters. Now, this series has sold out, went to multiple printings, had multiple spin-offs and mini-series. And we're finally getting an omnibus. And this is the big thing I want to point out. Anyone can get this omnibus from wherever they buy comics, or even places they don't traditionally. The horrible Amazon and Barnes & Noble and, mass market stores. But the cover to own, Scotty Young drew a cover. Now, he's the writer of Strange Academy, but he drew the cover for the direct market exclusive, meaning this cover is only available at your local comic shop. You have to go to a small mom and pop style local comic shop to get this incredible cover on this omnibus. And this is a very great price, because a lot of the times nowadays Marvel Omnibuy run at the $125 to $150 price range. We're looking at a $100 omnibus with an original beautiful Scotty Young cover exclusive to the direct market. So 100% reach out to your local comic shop and let them know if you want this cover, because I think this might be one of the higher selling Marvel omnibus, if not definitely the highest demanded one once it comes out and people see this, because people are going to go to their traditional big box stores and not see this cover, and then they're going to be rushing to the local comic shop, which hopefully won't have already sold out. So let your shop know if you want this. But really beautiful cover. Everyone loves Scotty Young. A lot of fun Marvel books, once again, to check out on FOC. We have a second printing of the West Coast Avengers #1 with that stunning Adam Hughes cover, now not in foil. We also have the chance to, finalize your orders for issue #3 of West Coast Avengers, and then some one-shots. If you haven't been paying attention, soon we will be getting the What If Galactus Had Transformed X. And they're all going to be what if one-shots focused on different Marvel characters. The ones on FOC this Monday are What If Galactus Had Transformed Rogue, and What If Galactus Had Transformed Spider-Gwen to be basically the new Silver Surfer, his cosmic assistant, the forebearer of Galactus's hunger. So these are going to be really fun and exciting. Some great covers on there, different writers on each. For Rogue, you can see it's going to be Ann Nesenti with Stephen Byrne. I love that cover that Paul Renaud did. Paul always doing great stuff. And then on Spider-Gwen, we're going to have Kalinda Vasquez with Daniel Picciotto doing the awesome interior artwork. Great Steven Segovia. I mean, a lot of fun covers to be had on these. Great series. Again, we have a limited amount of time, so I can't talk about every single thing on FOC each Monday. Always check out previewsworld.com/finalordersdue to see what you want. Definitely some covers I'll be coming back to, because that X-Men #10 is stunning. There is a facsimile for X-Men 131. If you can't afford to go back issue bin diving at your local comic shop or online to grab those key issues, sometimes these books can get to triple figure price tags. I understand it. So facsimiles are a great way to read those classic issues and have them in hand, not just as a trade paperback or hardcover or omnibuy reprinting everything. It feels like you're having the original, because you get those original advertisements. You still have the paper in hand, that you can just throw a single issue into your bag and drag with you wherever you're going, as opposed to a thick trade paperback. So X-Men 131 getting a $5 reprint, not a bad deal. We also have X-Men Xavier's Secrets. This one's going to be a really fun one because this is reprinting a digital exclusive comic that talks about what Xavier was doing at the end of Krakoa. You can see all of the stuff from Jonathan Hickman's Krakoan age, from the behind-the-scenes perspective of what was Xavier doing. Because I know that was the start years ago when House of X and Powers of 10 began. What is Xavier doing? Why is he wearing this helmet? Why is everything weird? So here is the secret reveal. We're going to move on next to Dynamite, a wonderful publishing company that does a lot of great artwork with a million covers. So it's always good to let your local comic shop know which cover you guys want on this. There's a new one-shot called Altered Purgatory. It's going to be a what-if storyline with the Chaos character of Purgatory. Some great cosplay covers, as well as Joseph Michael Linsner, Lucio Perillo, all sorts of fun. And then Alex Segura, who just wrapped Battle of Jakku with that issue on FOC over at Marvel, is starting something new with Green Hornet and Miss Fury, two classic characters that I wouldn't have thought to see paired together, but I'm very curious to see what they do. Beautiful Jay Lee cover on there amongst Franco Francavilla and more. And then I'd be curious to see what people get done on blanks for Green Hornet and Miss Fury. I'm sure Nikki has Ken Hazer currently working away on some. Lots of awesome covers there. Continuing of Red Sonja and Space Ghost and Terminator, some brilliant series that have been just selling like hotcakes. The Space Ghost series by David Pepos has just been fire. Every issue amazing. I know that my shop, Nowhere Games and Comics, has been selling out consistently, and we're constantly doing reorders because it is so popular. And hopefully that is the same at your local comic shop. But here's the big one we always, of course, got to talk about. Dynamite gets to do some of the really cool new Disney content. And one of the big ones is Zootopia. I know my son is a huge fan of that movie, as well as some of my staff. It is a big one. And this is going to be Zootopia 2, basically. It's not adapting the inevitable Zootopia 2 film. This is going to give us content after the first Zootopia film, as I believe it's Nick Wilde joins the police force in Zootopia. We're going to have Jeff Parker writing this with Alessandro Rinaldi doing artwork. You get that great Trish Forstner of Stray Dogs and Feral fame doing that opening A cover. But this is going to be really exciting. If you were a fan of Zootopia, this is going to definitely be a must-read book. And I am excited with all of the covers that are available on this. Definitely reach out to your local comic shop, because I know there's also a bunch of great ratio covers. Rousseau's Color Bleed with Judy Hopps, absolutely amazing. And of course, we have the movie characters, as you remember that movie poster existing. So however you want to consume Zootopia, there is a million great ways, including foil covers. That one I think is going to be really big. And that one's going to be a great one for everyone. A fun one to gift out on the holiday season, or get new readers into comics, as well as to enjoy yourself. We're going to move down to the indie publishers and talk a little bit of that before we move over to DC. Lots of fun continuing series on this. We're seeing a lot of Christmas and holiday items that will probably miss Christmas, like Christmas 365. Thankfully, the name acknowledges that Christmas can happen year-round. But one of the first ones I want to talk about is Dante's Inferno. Now, if you're not familiar with Dante Alighieri's incredible classic, The Divine Comedy, which incorporates Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso, this is classic Italian literature as Dante travels into the 9 circles of hell and is guided by the poet Virgil. This is going to be a beautiful adaptation. One of the reasons also I always recommend using previewsworld.com if you want proof this is going to be a beautiful adaptation. Not only are you going to be able to find out all about the book, its price point, its cover, etc., you can scroll down and click to view previews. So we're going to do this on this one instance, and you can see what the stunning interior artwork is going to look like on this brilliant graphic novel from Abrams. It's very biblical looking. It definitely has that Renaissance pencil, charcoal style artwork. But this is a classic piece of literature, and it is exciting to see it adapted into comic book form once again, and this version looks like it might just be one of the best. So definitely something to consider if you want to dive into, classic literature that often, I think at one point used to be high school mandatory reading and is now far since that case. But a great way to read this classic literature in a new way or in an alternate way. Moving through this, a lot of great manga on there. We have another great graphic novel going back to print in Ghetto Clown. Yeah, it's too much like reliving high school lit. But here's the thing, TJ. I will say it this way: you didn't get sequential art very often in high school literature, more than likely. I mean, if you did, you went to a very cool high school. But it gets so much better with the sequential artwork. So one fun one I want to point out: John Leguizamo, the legendary comedian. He is also very affiliated with comics. Not only is he a comic book fan, he's been in comic book movies as Violator in Spawn, Luigi in Mario. But he is a comic writer with multiple Image comics, and now Abrams is reprinting his biographical comic, Ghetto Clown, and it has a new introduction by Lin-Manuel Miranda, the man behind many Disney movies, such as Encanto, and of course the popular Broadway play Hamilton. So a lot of fun there if you want to go for a non-fictional, pseudo non-fictional comic. See, lots of manga on FOC this week. I can definitely, see that. I know if Tamara is still watching, she'll definitely enjoy the hardcover of Lester of the Lesser Gods, Eric Powell's fun new book. The miniseries just wrapped, and now we have a hardcover on FOC. One I always have to point out for everyone to be aware: Mark Spears, after his popular card set Monsters, has this incredible Keen Spot comic dealing with all of your classic Universal monsters and his stunning, stunning painted artwork. The first 2 issues have sold out, gone to multiple printings. Issue number 2 has a second printing right there, you can see on FOC. But one of the things I want to point out is the first printing of number 3. Now, the first printing of number 1, the aftermarket values are astronomical. You're not finding copies for like under $20. And the Bride of Dracula, or one of, it was the Bride of Frankenstein, I think is almost triple figures now. So as you're seeing Dracula with his lovely lady succubi, this Mark Spears cover, I guarantee you, is going to be an aftermarket high demand item. So talk to your local comic shop. Make sure you get the covers you want. I love the 1980s style Marvel framework they did with Mark's various monsters. And there's a flip which does alternate covers of the Dracula and Witch Marvel frame covers. And it's a foil flip book. A lot of fun to be had. There's even now, if you really are the big baller, $100 metal cover with that Jaws or Megalodon, homage. So a lot of great stuff. It is insane how Mark has gone unrecognized, or under-recognized, I should say, for so long. And now he is just the new artist with covers at DC, Keen Spot, multiple printings on his Monster series. And he is very deserving of it. Maybe we'll get lucky and I can convince Mark to come on, for an interview later, and he can talk a little about his art. Lots of fun ones, again, on FOC. So make sure you go to Previews World and check all of this out. The next big one I have to talk about, though, is going to be, where is it? There it is. Star Wars from Dark Horse. Actually, before that, we got to give a little moment, a shout out to Star Trek that often gets overshadowed by Star Wars. Star Trek Defiant 23 is going to be a bit of a lone wolf and cub one-shot story. Story inspired, obviously, by Kazuo Koike's Lone Wolf and Cub. Anytime anybody says Lone Wolf and Cub, I get excited. From Mandalorian to Usagi Yojimbo, Star Trek Defiant 23, a Little Lone Wolf and Cub one-shot. But the big ones are going to be the Dark Horse Star Wars ones. Well, Marvel is wrapping up and celebrating some big ones. We're going to be moving forward with brand new stories of Bad Batch. After that incredible Disney Plus series, we have Bad Batch Ghost Agents by Michael Morecki, who's got some history writing Star Wars comics at IDW and Dark Horse. Brand new series for Clone Force 99. New stories with these incredible characters like Wrecker and Hunter. I am hyped. This will be exciting. Multiple covers to choose from. And then High Republic has two big ones. If you're not familiar with the Star Wars High Republic novels, this might not be as meaningful, but it's a great one to jump into because they're wonderful. This is the final issue of Echoes of Fear. And if you've been reading the novels, Reith Silas had a big revelation in the most recent novel, Beware the Nameless, where he realized there was one rod left that could control the Nameless that had been destroying the Jedi. The Rod of Ages gets unearthed in this issue. You can see it right there on the cover. Reith Silas, the young Jedi Knight, finally having that big moment. This is going to be a key issue for High Republic fans. But another key issue for High Republic fans is going to be the annual. Now, the last time we had a Star Wars High Republic Adventures annual, it instantly became a $20+ book on the aftermarket. It was back at IDW because it was one of the first books to have all of the Star Wars High Republic authors working on one. And guess what? We're doing it once again. This annual is going to have new stories by Cavan Scott, Justina Ireland, Charles Soule. That's weird. All three of those people have books on FOC that aren't Star Wars related. But you're also going to get Rosemary Soule, who I believe is Charles's daughter, Alyssa Wong, and Zoraida Cordova. This is going to be an epic if you're a High Republic fan. This is going to drive all of the High Republic novel fans out of the bookstores and to the comic shops to grab this, just like they did the last annual. And we're going to get to see some first appearances of some of these incredible characters in the comics. Because Churro the Hutt, only in the novels. Now he's making his first appearance in comics. And we're going to see a lot of other ones, some of the Jedi younglings from the young readers books, or the young adult books, finally making their first appearances, as well as classics we all love like Vernestra Rowe and Lorna D. So $8, but that is going to be a high demand book. I would lay odds it could be like the first annual and become like a $20 book later on if you're going for a collector speculatory mentality. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 6 is the end of the first story arc by Jason Aaron, but it's also awkwardly a perfect jumping on point. Now, how can it be the end of the first story arc but a perfect jumping on point? Well, the Turtles are back together finally after a bunch of one-shots, but you also get the new series ongoing artist, Juan Ferreira, is going to start. This is his first issue of art as he now takes over as the ongoing artist. So as we get prepped for the next story arc that will begin in issue 7, this is your first look at Juan's artwork. The Turtles back together. Everything about this is where those 5 issues that were kind of standalone prep come together. And we're going to get a true taste of what Jason Aaron's Turtles run is going to look like now. So a lot of exciting things on this week's FOC. I have to give a shout out to Billy Tucci. Billy is celebrating his 30th anniversary in comics, and this is a fun one. It is Winter Wonderland Private Commissions. It is a $25 trade paperback collecting all of these incredible commissions and covers that Billy did as giant pinups. I think this will be a fun one if you're a fan of She or any of the other incredible Billy Tucci comics or artwork. I mean, he's worked at DC and Marvel over the years, so I'm sure we're going to see some of those characters hidden in these pages. All right. Now, once again, you can see all of this at previewsworld.com/finalordersdue. I'm going to actually hop over to Lunar Distribution, the distributor that does all of the DC distribution for North America outside of Universal distribution. But let's be honest here, Lunar is going to have a better setup on how to see this. So you can go to lunardistribution.com, and I will just show you really quickly. You'll pop up on a page like this. You'll just want to scroll down a little bit. You can see previews for some of the comics by clicking here. In fact, there's the Lucky Devils preview right there. So you can as simple as that. Take a look at the comic in advance. But if you scroll down to upcoming FOC, make sure you're on the right date. This is December 9th, which is this coming Monday. You can see all of the comics that DC will have on FOC, among some of the other publishers that Lunar does distribute. But we're going to focus on DC right now as we wrap this show up in our last bit. Batman 609 getting a reprint. This is part of the Hush. This is the first appearance of Thomas Elliott, the man who would become Hush. And one of the things you can't see here, there is a B cover that will be in foil you can order. We have a lot of great ones. The Incredible Batman Full Moon. All of the A covers on this 4-issue miniseries have been glow in the dark. So the final issue, yes, is glow in the dark. We're also having the Incredible Sweater Weather covers. So if you like your sexy DC characters, both male and female, wearing less than ideal winter weather outfits, these covers are up your alley. A lot of continuing items, so I'm not going to talk too much on most of the DC ones. I will say that I recommend, once again, you let your comic shop know if you're interested in Challengers of the Unknown, as we bring those classic characters back and add the trinity of heroes, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, to the team. That is going to be an exciting addition to the Challengers of the Unknown. But issue number 1 isn't out yet, and we're finalizing orders on issue number 2 as just the complications of Final Order Cutoff. The reason we do this show, so you guys know about these comics coming out. You'll see a lot of the image titles once again, so I can point out Geiger, once again, is going to have that first appearance in issue number 10, as well as the return of Junkyard Joe. Lucky Devils, once again. There you can see some of the ratio covers that we couldn't see on Previews World, such as the 1 in 25 glitter variant, doing that nod to Curse Words, the first Charles Soule, Ryan Brown miniseries. Not a lot of DC on FOC this weekend. Those that are going to be, once again, like New Gods, where we're FOCing or final ordering the number 2 before the number 1. I will tell you, though, this is an incredible series. Rom V is doing an amazing take on the New Gods that I think could actually challenge Jack Kirby. And I know that's a powerful statement to say, but this is a stunning take on some DC characters that really have been very overlooked since the era where Jack Kirby was writing and drawing them. So I've already read issue number 1. I can tell you it is going to be amazing. Let your shop know and go out of your way to pick up a copy of number 1 when it comes out. I think this is going to be an incredible, incredible series. Yes, right. Rom V on New Gods. And the best part is that's not all. Evan Cagle, who did the incredible covers on Detective Comics for Rom, is going to be doing the interior artwork. So these are interiors utterly unlike any of the comics you're used to reading. He really pushes the envelope almost in the ways that like J.H. Williams III did in providing unique interior artwork that is not just simple square panels. It is going to be unlike any other DC book on stands, I will say that. Obviously, I mentioned Cavan Scott earlier as doing part of the Star Wars High Republic annual. He has the newest issue of Night of the Slashers from Magma Comics on FOC this week. Magma also has their Day of the Dead Girl number 3, I think, or number 4 on FOC this week. So some fun ones. Definitely take a look at the previews on Lunar if you get a chance for those. Nightwing, continuing on with Dan Waters' unbelievable story. I didn't think anything could follow up Tom Taylor's Nightwing epic, but Dan's giving Tom a run for the money, and then with beautiful covers like Yasmin Putri's Sweater Weather. DC is definitely giving the women and those who love men a run for their money with some stunning, sexy covers. Look, we get a lot of sexy women in comics, and I love that. But now we're getting some sexy men too, and I don't know how Dick Grayson isn't freezing to death in this cover. It definitely does not look like it is a warm way to snowboard, but he seems happy, and hopefully some readers are going to be really happy with that cover. So not a huge amount to talk about, I hate to say, on the DC end this week. It really, is a lot of just continuing fun, but it's fun nevertheless. So the big one we'll have to wrap it with, bat oil insulation. I like it. There it is. Wonder Woman 17. Tom King's Wonder Woman run has been beyond epic. Obviously, now with the birth of Wonder Woman's daughter, things are going to get more interesting. Issues 15 and 16 have been crazy good, but issue 17, I imagine, will only bring it up to a better degree. You have that stunning David Nakayama cover with all of the Wonder Women, from Wonder Girl, Yara Flores, Donna Troy, Diana, everyone. Beautiful cover by David Nakayama. And then another I have to shout out, if you haven't been asking your retailer about the Zdarsky comic news, this is a great way to get your comic news. It is a wonderful thing. I do want to point out, comic shops do have to pay for those bundles of 10 that they give out. So if your comic shop has a huge stack, you know they drop some money. So just always, be aware of that. Be thankful when your comic shop gives it to you for free. Maybe grab an extra comic that you learned about from the Zdarsky comic news as thanks from your local comic shop. But I'm excited to see Chip Zdarsky not only obviously draw the incredible Scott Snyder on that cover, but to see what he interviews Scott about. I'm certain it has to do with that bat logo on his shirt. So with that said, those are the comics on FOC this week. You can check them out at Final Orders or at previewsworld.com/finalordersdue and lunardistribution.com. Now I want to take a moment to talk about the big covers this week that and really show them off. So we're going to discuss some of the ones that I think might be the movers or shakers. Let's see if we can get that on screen. So we're going to start off, obviously, with Geiger number 10. Return of Junkyard Joe, first appearance of a new character, but look at that, Action Comics #1 homage. I mean, that's not Superman lifting an old car. That is Geiger throwing a whole bus. There is not a single Action Comics #1 homage, I believe, that goes for cover price. They all, even in eras when comics were massively overprinted, like the 90s, the Action Comics homage on Action Comics was Supergirl throwing a car. There had to have been millions of copies of that printed, and it's still like an $8 comic on a book that was a cover price of like $1.25. So anytime there's an Action Comics homage, it's like an Amazing Spider-Man 300 homage. It is worth considering and buying. Next up, Lucky Devils. Obviously, 8 Billion Genies went to something around like 6 to 8 printings. It was a ridiculous amount. The New York Comic Con exclusive preview sold out instantly and goes for a huge aftermarket value. Charles Soule just seems to print money for you guys. And on top of that, they're great stories inside. So I always recommend, hopping on that. I think this is going to be a fun one. And this definitely has an 8 Billion Genies vibe on the cover. Beautiful Ryan Brown piece. All right. Then, Amazing Spider-Man 66. I mean, we're continuing a storyline here, but while this is a Mark Bagley cover, and Mark has done a million Spider-Man pieces, this is a stunning Mark Bagley cover. Peter Parker making out with not Mary Jane or Gwen Stacy. It's Felicia. It's Black Cat. So any thought that you might have had reading Ultimate Spider-Man or having those moments of Renew Your Vows or watching the Edge of or Across the Spider-Verse movie where it's like, Peter's going to get back with Mary. It's all good. This throws a bit of a curveball in it. And I think this is going to be an in-demand cover. You get, a Mark Bagley curvaceous series of Peter Parker and Felicia Hardy butts on there. And I mean, anytime those things happen, that's a demand item. Somebody's walking by the wall that doesn't get Amazing Spider-Man, they're going to pick up this issue. So definitely a good cover to pay attention to. Then I mentioned it before, Peach Momoko's Marvel Rivals cover. You have two things going for you. I don't think there is a single Galactica cover, the lady or the daughter of Galactus, that isn't going for a fortune on the aftermarket. I mean, she, mind you, only had a few comic appearances. This cover should be popular. It's Peach Momoko, who is the Eisner Award-winning best cover artist and just a top talented artist. And then Jeff the Landshark. Jeff the Landshark, yeah. That's all you have to say. It's just Jeff the Landshark, mic drop. It doesn't get better than Jeff. So This is a perfect combination of everything you could love. And it might lead to some mobile app game fans from the Marvel Rivals coming into your comic shop to get it. Pablo Villalobos, the Lobos himself, always stunning covers. I think he really is fighting to be the new Adam Hughes in the industry. This Psylocke #3 cover is stunning. I love the trippy background. I think this will be a beautiful cover that'll get a lot of attention. And then this is a big one, the Strange Academy Omnibus. I get that that's a big buy at $100, but here's the thing. Local comic shops don't often do like big discounts on Omnibuy. You're going to find the big box stores that do discounts and people will buy their books there or they'll buy more. This is direct market exclusive. You have to go to your brick and mortar local comic shop to get this cover. It is an amazing Scotty Young cover. Everyone loves Scotty Young covers. You heard me say it before. I don't think there's a Scotty Young cover in the world that's devalued. They maintain their price or go up. And this has got a brilliant story on top of that in there for a brilliant price. Like normally, once again, Marvel Omnibuy, $125, $150. This is $100 flat. Support your local comic shop. Get the coolest cover. Scotty Young. Oh, Larry Lee. One of the top modern artists in the industry doing this amazing X-Men cover with one of the best mutants in existence. I'm sorry, Colossus, it's your little sister that overshadows you even despite the height and body weight. Magic, Ileana Rasputin, one of the best, and Larry just knocking it out. If that doesn't become a statue at some point, Marvel and its licensors are making a mistake. That is a beautiful cover. Can't go wrong. Zootopia, Trish Forrestner of Stray Dogs and of countless incredible Dynamite covers, Feral and more, reviving Zootopia. Zootopia, I don't think has been in any comic form other than graphic novel adaptions of the movie. And this is going to, I don't even think we've had any Disney shorts or spin-offs. There's no Zootopia TV series yet, to my knowledge. So Zootopia fans, this is it. You know, this is where you got to go, and this is going to be great with Jeff Parker writing it, Alessandro doing interior artwork. It's going to feel just like you turned on the movie, and after the credits, it continued going. So I'm excited about this. Good score, Nikki, on that. That is a good grab. Mark Spears Monsters. I don't think you can go wrong with any of the covers on this, any of the titles. Mark Spears' artwork is phenomenal. I'm really excited about his new DC covers coming out this month, but I think this is going to be the cover. Reminding me very much of the Frankenstein's Bride cover on Mark Spears Monsters #1, which, like I said, I think is pushing triple figures. It might be in the triple figures now on the aftermarket. This cover is going to be the next one to shoot. I will almost guarantee issue 3 will get a second printing. Stores will under order this, and this will be the cover everyone wants. So let your shop know. And then High Republic annual. Obviously, the first annual, super expensive book, sold out everywhere, hard to get, an amazing book to get signed at Star Wars conventions. This is going to be it once again, as you were going to have 6 of the Star Wars architect writers working on this. Perfect one to bring for autographs at conventions. A key story that will give you new information, whether you're reading the novels, the brand new audio drama, Tempest Breaker, that just came out at StarWars.com and on various audio podcast websites, or you're reading any of the other High Republic comics. I know that a lot of people read the Marvel High Republic comics and don't read the Dark Horse adventures. You're missing out. These are not children's books. These are key Star Wars tales. And with all of the key writers, including Charles Soule, on this is going to be a big one that will hopefully be a milestone piece of Phase 3 of the High Republic. Bad Batch. We've had Bad Batch appear on some covers. We've had Bad Batch appear in anthologies like Star Wars Hyperspace Stories. But now we get an actual self-contained, self-titled series, Bad Batch Ghost Agents. So for collectors and Star Wars fanatics, not only will this be a key issue this is also going to be a great one for those who finished the last season of Bad Batch and said, I need more. So Michael Morecki, I'm sure, is going to knock this out of the park. My favorite Jedi Knight, Reith Silas, finally having his moment. George Mann, of course, who did Beware the Nameless, gets to handle this. This is the final issue of Echoes of Fear, but this could be a key part, once again, for everyone who's a High Republic fan, reading the novels, listening to the audio drama, reading the manga, or the other Marvel comics. This is going to be a key artifact, at very least, for the story. But this could be the defining way that the Jedi turn the tide against the Nihil and the Nameless. And then, of course, first appearance of Thomas Elliott. Remember, in Batman 158, in just a few short months, we're going to have Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee back on Batman Hush. This is going to be a huge one. So getting a reprint of that key issue just to remind yourself of the story, an affordable way of hopping in, or better yet, getting that awesome shiny foil, because this has never been offered in foil before. They've done 608 in foil before, but not 609. This is a really cool way to get it, whether you need that refresher or you just never got Hush the first time around. I mean, it was 20 years ago. As we now know, insulating bat oil. That's all we have to say. Insulating bat oil. That is a sexy, this is where we get in trouble. This is where we get kicked off YouTube. This is a sexy Dick cover. That is a sexy Dick Grayson Nightwing cover. I love these sweater weather covers because they're so unconventional as far as keeping your body heat in there, whether it is the body heat of the characters not wearing enough or the body heat of those attracted to them. But this Nightwing cover, I think, is definitely going to draw some eyes and get some commentary. It'll be the water cooler comic of that Wednesday. Now, here's the big one. Transformers 16. As we mentioned, a new threat comes to the Energon universe. Autobots, Decepticons versus something new. This is a 1 in 50 cover by Homer. Skybound and Image will not reveal this cover until release date. So you're not going to find out until the week this is released what this cover looks like. But I can tell you it's going to be hot. I can tell you it's going to be big. And it's going to, of course, spoil the big new threat. Talk to your local comic shop. Not all comic shops are going to be able to order 50 copies to get this, but it's worth reaching for if you're not. Talk to your local comic shop. This is going to be an expensive cover, but it's going to be a big one. All right. So those are our big covers for FOC this week. Remember, reach out to your local comic shop before 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Monday, December 9th, to let us know what it is you want. If you don't have a local comic shop, as you can see, you can place an order at the link in the comment or in the link down there. And let us know what you want. We're happy to order these things for you. Your local comic shop, I'm certain, is happy to order these things for you. They will appreciate you getting this information to them sooner rather than later. So check out previewsworld.com/finalordersdue or lunardistribution.com to see all of the comics on FOC this Monday. Let your local comic shop know what it is you want. Get all those awesome stories, those brilliant covers, those amazing speculatory buys to add to your collection, and enjoy comics. Thank you guys so much for watching. And yeah, that's a big one. I always have to point out. Thank you very much, Kyle. If you don't know where your local comic shop is, it's one of these directions, I've got to figure that out. Go to comicshoplocator.com. It is a great service that will help you find your nearest brick and mortar local comic shop so you can go in, and I guarantee you will impress your local comic shop if the first time you go in there you say, hey, I would like some comics that are about to be on Final Order Cutoff this Monday. Here's my list of what it is I would like you to buy for me. So, as always, enjoy comics. Thank you guys all for watching, and reach out to your local comic shop with those lists of what it is you want. I hope you guys get some great comics in a few weeks, and thank you all. We'll be back next Friday with another week of comics on Final Order Cutoff.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time. Bye.